For centuries, Easter Island has remained one of the planet's most impenetrable enigmas. A minuscule fragment of volcanic rock adrift in the vast Pacific Ocean, 1,000 kilometers from the nearest inhabited land, yet adorned with nearly 1,000 colossal stone effigies silently gazing skyward. Who fashioned them? How? And most importantly, why? For decades, history textbooks presented us with a somber and simplistic narrative. A primitive Polynesian tribe felled every tree on the island, depleted the soil, descended into cannibalism, and nearly vanished. The Moai, these enigmatic statues, were declared a monument to human folly, a symbol of a civilization that annihilated itself. A captivating fable, a convenient metaphor for environmental lectures. But there's a significant problem. Recent scientific discoveries reveal that almost everything in this story is untrue. Today, we journey to Easter Island to uncover what scientists have truly found, why the old narrative is crumbling before our eyes, and what new questions have emerged in its place, questions that science currently lacks answers for. Prepare yourselves, for the truth about Easter Island is far more complex, peculiar, and magnificent than anyone could have imagined. Let's begin with geography, as it is precisely this that makes the very existence of a civilization on Easter Island seem improbable. Rapa Nui, that is what the island's indigenous inhabitants call it. It is located in the southeastern Pacific Ocean, 2,300 kilometers from the coast of Chile and 2,500 kilometers from the nearest inhabited island, Pitcairn. It is one of the most isolated inhabited places on Earth. The island's area is a mere 163 square kilometers, smaller than many districts in Moscow. And on this tiny triangle of volcanic stone, encircled by an endless ocean, ancient people created one of humanity's most astonishing sculptural traditions, the Moai. Monolithic stone statues scattered across the island, but most concentrated along the coast, where they stand upon massive stone platforms known as ahu. In total, approximately 900 Moai have been discovered on the island. Their average height is 4 meters, though some reach 10, and the largest unfinished Moai in the quarry of Rano Raraku measures 21 meters in length, equivalent to the height of a 7-story building. The average statue weighs 14 tons, but individual specimens exceed 80, and all of them were carved from volcanic tuff, transported for kilometers across rugged terrain without the benefit of wheels, sleds, or roads, and erected on platforms with remarkable precision. But before we delve into how this was achieved, we must address the primary myth. The myth of ecological catastrophe. This version gained widespread acceptance thanks to Jared Diamond's book, Collapse, published in 2005. According to Diamond's hypothesis, Polynesian colonists arrived on an island covered in dense palm forests. They began to clear trees for cultivation, to build canoes, and most crucially, to move the colossal statues. As the population grew and rivalry between clans intensified, the scale of Moai construction escalated. Trees became scarcer, and eventually, the island transformed into a treeless wasteland. Without trees, there were no canoes, and consequently, no sea fishing. The soil eroded, harvests plummeted, and a war for resources, along with cannibalism, ensued. By the time Europeans arrived in 1722, only a handful of emaciated survivors remained amidst toppled stone giants, remnants of a once thriving civilization. A beautiful story, a convincing one, and as it turns out, largely incorrect. The first blow to the collapse theory was delivered by archaeologists from Binghamton University and the University of Arizona, who conducted an extensive study of obsidian tools scattered across the island. Obsidian, volcanic glass, was the primary material for tool production on Rapa Nui. If the population had indeed experienced a catastrophic collapse, the number of obsidian artifacts should have sharply declined after a certain period. However, the data indicated the opposite. Tool production remained stable right up until contact with Europeans. There was no precipitous population decline before the arrival of the Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen in 1722. The second blow came from an unexpected direction: soil science. A team of researchers, led by archaeologist Carl Lipo, analyzed the island's soils and discovered something astonishing. The inhabitants of Rapa Nui did not merely exploit the land to exhaustion. they deliberately improved it. Across the island, they found what are known as stone gardens, areas where the earth was intentionally covered with volcanic rock fragments. This method, known as lithic mulching, enriched the soil with minerals, conserved moisture, and protected crops from the wind. This is not the behavior of a civilization thoughtlessly destroying its environment. It is a deliberate, sophisticated agricultural technique requiring a profound understanding of ecology and years of planning. But what then happened to the forests? Here, an unexpected player enters the narrative: the rat. Polynesian colonists brought the Pacific rat with them as a food source. Paleobotanical research has shown that rats proliferated on the island at an alarming rate, beginning to devour palm seeds and saplings. It was the rats, not human deforestation, that became the primary cause of the forest's disappearance. Humans undoubtedly felled trees, but they also adapted to changing conditions, shifting from forestry to stone gardens. This is a story not of collapse, but of brilliant adaptation. The third, and perhaps most devastating blow to the old theory, was dealt by demographic data. It was long believed that the island's population once reached 15,000 to 20,000 people, and then catastrophically declined. New research, based on analysis of agricultural land area and potential crop yields, suggests that the island's maximum population likely never exceeded 3,000 to 4,000 individuals. There was no demographic explosion followed by collapse. There was a stable, relatively small population that skillfully managed the limited resources of a tiny island. So, what did Roggeveen observe when he landed on the island in 1722? His journals describe the island not as a barren wasteland, but rather with cultivated fields, seemingly healthy inhabitants, and a functioning society. The true catastrophe occurred later, and its perpetrators were not the islanders, but Europeans. In the 1770s, visits by Spanish navigators began, bringing with them diseases to which the Rapa Nui had no immunity. And in 1862, an event occurred that truly annihilated Rapa Nui civilization. Peruvian slave traders captured and deported approximately 1,500 islanders, a third of the total population, including chiefs, priests, and knowledge keepers. Only 15 individuals ever returned, and they brought with them smallpox and tuberculosis. By 1877, only 111 people remained on the island. This is where the true collapse lies, caused not by ecological disaster, but by colonial violence. Now that the old story has unraveled, a far more intriguing question emerges. If the inhabitants of Rapa Nui were not senseless fools who destroyed their island, then who were they? And how did a small community of a few thousand people create nearly 1,000 colossal stone statues? Let's begin at the Rano Raraku Quarry, a volcanic crater that served as a workshop for the creation of Moai. This place alone inspires awe. The volcano's slopes are dotted with unfinished statues in various stages of production. Around 400 Moai remain here. Some are barely sketched into the rock face. Others are almost completely finished but never separated from the parent rock. This offers us a unique opportunity to understand the creation process from beginning to end. The stone carvers worked with basalt handpicks called toki. They carved the statue directly from the volcano's slope, gradually deepening a groove around the figure. This was titanic labor. A medium-sized Moai, by experimental estimates, required the work of a team of 15 to 20 individuals for 1 year. But the true mystery began when the statue was complete. How was a multi-ton monolith detached from the rock and transported for distances of up to 18 kilometers across the island without wheels, draft animals, or roads? For decades, researchers proposed various transportation theories: wooden sleds, log rollers, rope systems. But in 2011, archaeologists Carl Lipo and Terry Hunt proposed a hypothesis that changed everything. They observed the statue's distinctive shape and realized the answer had been literally before them all along. The Moai possess a characteristic form: a heavy, protruding belly, a forward-shifted center of gravity, and a slightly forward-leaning posture. Lipo and Hunt theorized that this form was not accidental. It was specifically designed for transportation. The statues were moved in an upright position, rocked from side to side using ropes, much like you would move a heavy refrigerator across a kitchen. 3 teams of people with ropes. 2 on the sides controlled the rocking motion, while 1 at the rear prevented the statue from toppling forward. The Moai literally walked to their installation sites. This explains much. Firstly, the local legend. When European explorers asked the Rapa Nui how the statues reached the coast, they invariably replied, they walked themselves. For centuries, this was interpreted as superstition or mythical exaggeration. It turns out it was a literal description of the technology. Secondly, it explains the dozens of toppled moai lying face down along ancient pathways. These were statues that stumbled during transport and fell. They were not righted. It was simpler to carve a new one. An experiment in 2011 confirmed the theory. A team of 18 people successfully moved a 5-ton moai replica along a pathway, rocking it from side to side. The statue moved surprisingly quickly and with control. No trees or rollers were required for transport, only ropes and coordination. But if transportation was ingenious, the installation of moai on Ahu remains an engineering puzzle. The Ahu platforms are colossal structures in themselves. The largest of them, Ahu Tongariki, stretches 220 meters and supported 15 moai, including statues weighing over 80 tons. How was such a mass lifted onto a platform several meters high? Researchers believe inclined ramps made of stone and earth, along with a system of levers, were used. The same principle employed in the construction of the Egyptian pyramids. However, on Easter Island, there were few trees for levers and even fewer hands to work them. Yet they accomplished this 900 times. There is another detail that long eluded researchers. Moai are not merely heads. Many statues standing on the slopes of Rano Raraku were for centuries believed to be heads protruding from the earth. But excavations conducted in 2012 by a team led by Joanne Van Tilburg from the University of California revealed that massive bodies with arms, torsos, and detailed backs were hidden underground. Some of these bodies reach 7 meters in height. Complex petroglyphs have been discovered on their backs, symbols presumably denoting clan affiliation or religious motifs. The statues had been buried by centuries of erosion, and the world had for ages seen only the upper portion, like the visible part of an iceberg. The true scale of the moai is significantly larger than anyone suspected, and that's not all the surprises. Once the moai were installed on the Ahu, the work was not necessarily complete. Many statues were adorned with pukao, cylindrical topknots made of red volcanic slag quarried from a separate volcano, Punapao, several kilometers from Rano Raraku. The weight of a single pukao could reach 12 tons. How was a 12-ton stone cylinder lifted onto the head of a 10-meter statue? Researchers believe the pukao were rolled up a ramp concurrently with the moai's ascent. But some statues also had eyes, fashioned from white coral with pupils of red tuff or obsidian. The eyes were inserted last. And it was at this moment, according to scientists, that the statue was considered awakened. The moment when the deified ancestor gained power and began to protect its clan. A statue without eyes was merely a stone. A statue with eyes was a living guardian. But why? Why expend so much effort, time, and resources creating hundreds of stone giants? The old theory posited it was a manifestation of blind rivalry between clans. Each chief desired a statue larger than his neighbors, and this race led to the depletion of resources. However, new data paints a completely different picture. Research from 2019, published in the Journal of Archaeological Science, offered an unexpected answer. A team of archaeologists analyzed the placement of Ahu and moai across the island and discovered a pattern. The platforms with statues were almost always located near sources of fresh water, a rare resource on a volcanic island devoid of rivers and lakes. On Rapa Nui, fresh water comes from underground springs that emerge at the surface in very few locations, most often on the coast where underground flows seep through porous volcanic rock and mix with ocean water. The Ahu were built precisely at these points. The moai, according to researchers, served as markers. They indicated places where water could be found. The statues gazed inland, towards the community they belonged to, and literally guarded the most precious resource. This completely alters our understanding of the Moai. They were not monuments to vanity, but functional elements of infrastructure, a kind of sacred signage, integrating religion, resource management, and territorial organization into a single system. Each statue represented a deified ancestor of a clan, and its presence at a water source simultaneously sanctified the location and solidified the clan's claim to the resource. This was not a mad arms race, but a sophisticated management system encoded in stone. But that's not all. In 2019, New Zealand and American researchers conducted chemical analyses of the soils around the Rano Raraku quarry and discovered that this area was not merely a workshop for statue creation, but also a vital agricultural center. The soils within the volcano's crater, enriched by the fine stone dust from Moai carving, proved exceptionally fertile. Here, sweet potatoes, taro, bananas, and sugarcane were cultivated. The production of statues and the cultivation of food were part of a unified cycle. The byproduct of stonework, dust, and tough fragments fertilized the land. This was not wastefulness, but a closed ecological system where nothing was lost. There is another chapter in Rapa Nui's history that deserves attention: the cult of Tangata Manu, the Birdman. At some point, presumably in the 15th or 16th century, the chieftain system that built the Moai gave way to an entirely different form of governance. Every spring, representatives from the clans gathered on the Rano Kau volcano and competed for the right to become the Tangata Manu, the sacred birdman. Participants had to descend the sheer cliff face, swim across the shark-infested strait to the islet of Motu Nui, and be the first to find a sooty tern's egg. The victor became the island's spiritual leader for an entire year. This ritual, dangerous and dramatic, testifies that Rapa Nui society was not static, but evolved, transforming its institutions and finding new ways to organize power. Now, let's discuss another Easter Island enigma that long remained in the shadow of the Moai, the Rongo Rongo script. Wooden tablets and staffs have been discovered on the island, covered in rows of minuscule symbols. This is one of the very few writing systems invented independently of other civilizations, and it remains undeciphered. The 26 surviving artifacts inscribed with Rongo Rongo are housed in museums worldwide, yet no linguist has been able to confidently read a single line. Peruvian slave traders in 1862 carried away the last individuals who could read Rongo Rongo from the island, and the knowledge died with them. What do we know about Rongo Rongo? The symbols are written in a boustrophedon system. Every odd line is read from left to right, and every even line from right to left and upside down. To read it, one must flip the tablet at the end of each line. This is an extremely unusual system, found in only a few ancient scripts globally. Among the symbols are depictions of humans, birds, fish, plants, and abstract forms. Some researchers consider Rongo Rongo a proto-writing, a system of mnemonic symbols that aided in remembering oral texts, rather than a fully phonetic script. Others are convinced it is a complete writing system, and decipherment is only a matter of time. In 2024, a group of researchers announced the partial decipherment of Rongo Rongo using computer algorithms, but their findings have not yet gained widespread acceptance in the scientific community. The very existence of Rongo Rongo poses another inconvenient question. The independent invention of writing is an event of exceptional rarity in human history. Most scholars count only 4 or 5 instances: Mesopotamia, Egypt, China, Mesoamerica, and possibly the Indus Valley. If Rongo Rongo is indeed an independent system, it signifies that a tiny, isolated community on a volcanic fragment in the middle of the ocean achieved an intellectual breakthrough comparable only to that of the greatest ancient civilizations. How? From where? What compelled them to do so? And finally, the last mystery, perhaps the most dizzying. How did Polynesians ever find Easter Island? Imagine yourself in a wooden canoe in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The nearest landmass is 1,000 kilometers away. You have no compass, no maps, no GPS. Easter Island is a speck of 163 square kilometers in an ocean covering 165 million square kilometers. The chances of finding it accidentally are 1 in a million. It's like finding a specific grain of sand on a beach with your eyes closed. Yet, Polynesian navigators found it. Current estimates place this discovery between the 8th and 12th centuries AD. They traversed over 2,000 kilometers of open ocean in double-hulled canoes, navigating by the stars, the direction of waves, cloud patterns, and the behavior of seabirds. Genetic research has shown that the colonization was not a random drift, but a deliberate expedition. The DNA of Rapa Nui people points to a small group of founders arriving from Mangareva, or the Marquesas Islands. They brought everything necessary to establish a colony: plant seeds, domestic fowl, rats for food, and likely detailed oral instructions for return journeys. These people possessed navigational knowledge that modern science has only begun to truly comprehend in recent decades. They were not primitive savages. They were the greatest seafarers in human history, and their achievements in navigation are unparalleled in the ancient world. Polynesian navigators memorized detailed star charts for every season, for every direction. They could sense from the character of ocean swells where the nearest land lay, hundreds of kilometers away. They read clouds like we read road signs. A particular type of cloud on the horizon indicated an island hidden beyond the curvature of the earth. These were not accidental wanderers swept away by a storm. They were professional explorers, systematically populating the islands of the Pacific for centuries. When we piece all these facts together, a picture emerges that is radically different from the somber parable of ecological suicide. The inhabitants of Rapa Nui were not reckless wastrels, but brilliant engineers, agronomists, and navigators who mastered one of the planet's most inhospitable corners and created a unique civilization that endured for over 500 years. They invented an agricultural system based on stone mulching. They developed an ingenious method for transporting multi-ton statues without wheels or draft animals. They possibly independently created a writing system. They built hundreds of monumental structures that served simultaneously as religious sanctuaries, territorial markers, and water resource indicators. They were not undone by their own mistakes, but by external forces, European diseases, and the slave trade. By the year 1877, only 111 souls remained of the civilization that birthed the Moai. Along with those who perished, their knowledge vanished, including, quite possibly, the secret of the Rongo Rongo script, and countless other mysteries we will likely never comprehend. Yet, the colossal stone effigies endured. They still stand sentinel or lie scattered across the island's landscape, their vacant eyes gazing inland. They have weathered centuries of tempests, seismic upheavals, and human barbarity. Today, through contemporary investigations, we are finally beginning to decipher their message, not as a tale of environmental collapse, but as a testament to the astounding ingenuity of a small population that transformed a barren volcanic isle in the vast ocean into a thriving home. Perhaps the paramount lesson of Easter Island isn't a cautionary narrative, but rather one that ignites inspiration. It's not a saga of a civilization that self-destructed, but a chronicle of how a handful of individuals at the world's edge conjured something magnificent from virtually nothing. And if we truly wish to honor their legacy, we ought to cease exploiting their story as an environmental scare tactic and instead commence studying it for what it genuinely represents. Evidence of human potential when faced with nothing more than stone, ropes, and an unwavering resolve. Share in the comments what captivated you the most.